When I took the IELTS test nearly 2 years ago, I scored a band 8.5 in speaking. Scoring high in IELTS speaking may seem like a dream, but trust me, it's achievable. I did it, and in this video, I'm going to share 8 key things that helped me reach this score. No gimmicks, no shortcuts, just real practical habits that worked for me. The last one is somewhat surprising, so stick around if you want to improve your spoken English. Number 1. Spoke English with friends. So a long time ago, when I was at university, I had a habit of speaking English to some of my friends, some 3 or 4 friends that I always spoke English to. Sometimes it became quite hard, quite challenging for us to word our thoughts, to express ourselves in English, but we always stuck to our principle, no matter how hard it became. Later on, when I entered the workforce, I had the privilege of having some colleagues, a few colleagues that I spoke English to, just like my university friends. Fun fact, some of those friends and some of those colleagues are still in touch with me, and I still, to this day, speak English with them whenever we talk. This habit is something that has helped me over the years to hone my speaking skills. Number 2, worked at an English newspaper. I worked at the Daily Star, which is touted as the most circulated English daily in our country. So I joined the newspaper as a junior sub-editor. My job was to edit reports that were submitted by reporters from all over the country. Most of the reports had, tons of mistakes in them. Mistakes related to grammar, mistakes related to sentence structure, word choice, you name it. In the process of working that job, I became aware of many mistakes that I was not aware of myself previously. So that job gave me an increased awareness of accuracy or correctness. Another thing that also helped me in this regard is that I used to spend a lot of time reading the English newspaper, at least an hour every day. Why did I spend so much time reading the newspaper? Because my edits, my work was there in print. So you know what happens when you find your work in print, right? You read every line of it, every word of it. So that's what I did. Number 3, read English literature. So something that I haven't said so far is that I majored in English. Naturally, there were many novels, short stories, and plays on my syllabus. So I read those texts in English. Not that it was true of all my classmates, because I knew many of my classmates who did not read the textbooks. Okay, they just read the summaries or synopses, and they also, got their hands on some prepared answers or notes that were available on the market. I know many of my classmates did that, but I never took that path. Okay, I never took any shortcuts. I read the texts that were on my syllabus, and also I read some texts that were outside my syllabus, like pleasure reading. On the syllabus or not, I read many works of English literature, and I think this is something that also helped me gain skills in the English language. Number 4, kept a notebook for vocabulary. So when I read those works of literature, I always had a notebook handy, and I used to jot down words and phrases, new words and phrases and their meanings in the notebook. And not only that, I oftentimes noted down example sentences for those words and phrases, so that I could learn better. Because if you learn words and phrases in isolation, it's not that effective, especially words. If you are learning just one single word, you are highly likely to forget it. But if you learn in chunks of language, you are more likely to remember it because it has some context, and especially if you're writing down the whole sentence, it gives you more context. So that's what I did. I wrote down words and phrases and example sentences in my notebooks. Okay, so I had several physical notebooks. That was before the advent of the internet in our part of the world, in our country. But later on, with the advent of the internet and with the popularity of the internet, smartphones became widespread. And so I also, just like other people, I had access to a smartphone. I had access to computers, which I still have access to. So later on, I started doing the same thing digitally. Number 5, worked in an English speaking call center. I think it was in 2011 or 2012 when I joined a call center. I was still a university student at the time. I joined the call center as a customer service representative. In the early days after joining, I was still a trainee. My job was to make outbound calls. So I called them and told them about our offers, the deals, and sometimes they would be convinced and they would place orders online from our company. But after a few months, my boss gave me a more important role, receiving calls, inbound calls from customers who called us from many different countries. Most of the customers were from the United States, but some of them were from European countries like England and Germany. No matter where they called from, they always spoke English. I had a lot of opportunities to speak English with them. So that job also helped me to gain some fluency in English. Number 6, watched a lot of English content. Oftentimes, I used to avoid watching content in my native tongue because I was more focused on the English language. I was always interested to level up my English skills. So I have watched a lot of English content. Just like you guys, I'm sure you, my audience, have also watched a lot of English content, be it movies or sitcoms or animated movies and whatnot. Movies that I have watched include Oblivion, Aliens, Man on Fire. I also remember watching some great animated movies like Megamind, Finding Nemo, The Lion King, Astro Boy. Mega series that I've watched include Prison Break, Boston Legal, and Suits. Number 7, used English in meetings. So I have a job at an IT firm where I work as a senior project coordinator. And there I have a meeting every day with my teammates. So a few years ago, I started the practice of speaking English during the meeting. So it's not a lot. The meeting happens for around 8 minutes or 10 minutes. So it's not a lot of practice, but still something is better than nothing. So this practice has also been helpful for me, and I'm sure this has been helpful for my teammates as well. I'm sorry I forgot to film this part earlier. Number 8, never memorized answers for IELTS speaking. Yes, it may sound surprising, but I never memorized any answers for my IELTS speaking. I'm talking about the days leading up to the test day. I am aware of the fact that when you memorize answers and when you regurgitate those answers on the day of the test, it does not sound good, okay? It does not make a favorable impression because the examiner who's listening to you is a very smart person, okay? And the examiner can tell when you are delivering a memorized, a prepared answer. The examiner can easily tell, and it tends to do more harm than good. So if you are preparing for the IELTS test, I would suggest not memorizing any answers, and that way you will sound natural and the examiner will like it. So those were the 8 habits that helped me score a band 8.5 in IELTS speaking. Improving your spoken English is not about a last-minute cramming. It's about daily habits. Let me know in the comments which of these you already use. If you found this video helpful, please like and share. Thanks.